So this is part 2 of the video. Welcome. So let's continue to program TicTacToe. So we started out with a plan to recap for the rules, and we have created a small field. And now what we need is we want the game field to be like a tic-tac-toe field showing up in a, not in this way, but in a way that we can interpret it better. And that means we want this to be the first line, that to be the next line, and that to be the next line. And we will just need to loop over this inner array, this 1, 2, 3, and we just need to then put out each line. And that's pretty easy. We just do for x in game field, and then we print x. So that means now it checks in that game field, which is an array of an array or a list of a list, you could say, and that should actually work in my opinion. Let's see. Yeah, and now we have a game field, an empty game field. So this is how we can start with a game. So what next is what we need is would be we now have a way to output the gaming field. We have a gaming field and we have actually fields inside the field. So what we need is to to actually fill being able to fill one field, right? If a player um, inputs this input, for example, 0, 1, we want 0, 1 to be filled with an X or an Y. So how can we do that? We can do that just by assigning to the game field, for example, let's do it like this, 0, 1, and an X. So if I'm not mistaken, then it's evaluated. If I'm not mistaken, then we can just output this now, or can we evaluate it even here? Yeah. So you can see now 0, 1. So this is the actual row. Oh, I forget it, or I sometimes mix it up that. But this is the actual row, and this is the column. So row first, then the column. So 0, this row, and column 1. And now we can see the player has put in the X. We want, of course, this to happen with an input. I'm not quite sure whether we can do it in Jupyter Notebook. Let's just see input with Python. Oh, no. Normal input in Python. Input something. I think it's even input. Oh, a values list map flow here. Input. Okay, let's try it. Input. Let's see how this works. Player 1. Input. Oh, nice, nice. Okay, that works. Wonderful. Okay, we can do that here. Okay, so we can program the whole game in here. Nice. Okay. So we want the so if we want a player to input, we can just say player should input the X coordinate and the Y coordinate, or let's just put in here input player 1 x. It's a bit inconvenient, but we don't have a UI for now, so we have to. We can fix this also, but for now, let's concentrate just on programming the game. So let's say we have player 1 x coordinate, so we can here game field and after we have done this, let's say let's put this to x, or player 1 x as a coordinate, player 1 x, player 1 y. Maybe x is not good. Let's say player 1 row and player 1 call for column. So this should be good. And after we have then both, we can move that to the game field. So player 1 row and player 1 call. So that should be a good way for the input to work. And player 1, what does he have? Does he have x or does he have? Let's start with, I think the x is good. Starting with the x is okay. So let's do a big X. So what is happening here? We are inputting, let player 1 input row, input the column. So it's, yeah, let's not evaluate this for now. Let's just clean up the field again to check. So now we have a clean field, as you can see here. It's totally empty. And we don't want this to be evaluated anymore, and we can actually delete the cell. So now what we want is we want to test this code, whether it works, whether the input for player 1 actually works, and then we want to see if the game field changes. So let's evaluate this. So we just start out here 2, 2. We want this field to be filled, so I will put in 2 and 2. Let's see. We have an error. Player 1 row list indices must be integers, not strings. Okay, so this input is a string. We need to change the type, of course, because otherwise what would actually happen would be that here with a string, it would show like this, right? And Python cannot interpret this, of course. So we just need to change the type to an integer. Let's check how we can do it. Change integer to string in Python. Yeah, so okay, change string to integer. That may be the right one. Okay, it's just int. So we just need to put an int in front to interpret the input as integer, and that should fix this. And again here, let's evaluate it again. So we have 2, 2. Now let's evaluate the playing field again, and we should see the x. Nice. Okay, now we have an x here, and we see that the first player has done the move. Okay, thank you very much. We will see us in the next video.